when we do research, we'll see that most of communication, 90%, is non-verbal. But yet all people want to do is verbally communicate. That's just one means of it. What about the other 90%?
Welcome back for another episode of the Human Blueprint. Thanks for being with us today. I'm Angelo and
I'm Herman.
And if you want to see some behind the scenes clips and footage, then keep watching to the end. If you're listening, then make sure you head over to YouTube to check out the podcast where you can see some behind the scenes footage of what really inspired this episode.
Yeah.
And so we'll get into it. And we want to go over a quote today. And the quote is this. Do you want to read it, Herman? I'll let you read it.
You want me to read it? Okay. Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? So what does that mean to you?
Well, I had an actual experience where I was shown how true this quote really is.
True story?
Yeah, true story. Totally a true story. And I actually remembered this quote when I first heard it. And I'm sure you hear a lot of quotes and you probably don't really remember them. But this one stuck with me because I instantly noticed that. And I realized that there's a lot of times that I say things that aren't necessary. And really, they aren't really even true. Mm-hmm. And they're not kind either. So it's not checking off any box. But So I remembered this quote, and so there was one time that I was in the kitchen and I was doing dishes, and my mom was next to me, and me and my mom have a funny relationship where, like, we're always, we're really close. We always joke around with each other. I always sing songs to her that I make up. We're really funny. But sometimes I can take it overboard. And so this current moment, I was in the kitchen doing my dishes. She was making cookies. And I was about to say something to her. And it probably wouldn't be received the right way because I like to tease her sometimes. And literally before I opened my mouth to say what I wanted to say, I bit my tongue. But I didn't bite my tongue metaphorically. I physically bit it as if there was something that said or told me not to say what I was going to say.
Not anymore.
Right. But what's interesting is right before I wanted to say that, I thought about this quote, but I was like, I'll say it anyways.
Yeah.
So after I bit my tongue, it hurt.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it. Because I knew that it didn't check through these questions. And I realized that if what I'm sharing doesn't pass through these 3 gates, then really I probably wouldn't talk as much.
Yeah. And that's for most people.
Yeah.
Right? Now, picture beyond just speaking. What do most people do with their laptop or computer when they watch something or see something in the comment section?
Well, luckily for us, we have a lot of awesome listeners and viewers that support us a lot. But a lot of people will just impress negativity onto somebody.
It's not kind, it's not true, and probably not necessary. Right? So that's why a lot of us don't realize a lot of the actions we do or take, there's ramifications. But no one's ever thinking about that. They just want to say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and no accountability. And so that's why the reason why you like this quote so much is because it's where that accountability now is kicking in. Where it's you're not going to do the same things to get the same mistakes to have the same poor results. You're going to do something that you're going to get better results. You're going to do something that makes other people feel better, right? So that maybe they don't feel so inferior or teased like you would before.
And by doing that, like I don't help anybody. It doesn't serve any good purpose.
It doesn't make her happier,
Right.
right? It didn't make her feel like special. It didn't make her necessarily feel worthy if you were to do that, like you did before. So what would that purpose serve?
Right. None.
None. So that's why we have to do things with a greater purpose.
Right. So what if you wanted to say something to somebody, but let's say it wasn't pretty?
Yeah.
Let's say
Like an example. Give an example.
So let's say you're in a relationship and you have something to share to your partner, but it's not something that it is true. It's probably necessary, but it may not be kind.
Okay.
So what do you do in that situation? Or is it all about, I know we talk a lot about delivery and how you deliver the message. So what?
Okay, so let's say you bought a package from Amazon. 1 day shipping. Okay, same day shipping. It's coming to your house, but you're not home. You're not home. Can you sign and receive your package if nobody's home?
No.
So it doesn't matter, the delivery was good, but if nobody's home, it's going to fall on deaf ears. So you have to make sure that that person or your partner is home to understand so that you can deliver it in the right way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they're zoned out and not even focused on being open or not even being focused on like the kind part or being true or understanding like the way you are and nobody's home, maybe that it doesn't matter what delivery you give, nothing's going to be received because nobody's there to receive it.
Right.
So you have to pick and choose when somebody's home, when you want to deliver, how you want to deliver before you deliver it.
Right.
Make sense?
And even if the message isn't necessarily kind, is there a way to make it kind? Or do you not so much focus on the kindness and you just focus on the truth?
You do as best as you can, but that's when in the relationship, both parties have to understand that if you're being open and honest and they understand that you mean nothing but the best for them and you know they mean nothing but the best for you, that has to be open dialogue. But nobody has that open dialogue. That's why so many relationships crash and burn. Because communication can't be received. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like you only want to communicate what you want to communicate, but when it's reverse time for you to be the receiver, people don't want it
Right.
because people no longer want to listen. But if we truly listen and hear what they're saying, why they're saying it, how they're saying it, then maybe there's something and some truth inside that we can dissect and pick out. That maybe it may be criticism, but maybe we can use it constructively so that we can fix those finer details. Does that make sense? But you can't be afraid to share things or go through things, because if you are and nothing is ever delivered, then you go further and further apart.
Right.
And that's not healthy.
Right. Well, I think there's another quote that I want to bring up because
Go
I
ahead.
believe it will relate to this whole communication aspect and where the disconnections may lie. So
Which one?
I will let you read this one since you did such a great job at reading the first one.
Story time. So this next quote. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I'll understand. So how does that relate to you? Based off of what we just talked about.
Well, it relates. So first off, I think when I first hear this quote, it makes me think about how you've helped me. Because in the kitchen, we'll take this for example. I remember when we were first together and we were cooking and stuff like that, and I thought I was doing the cooking right all along, and so you put me to the test and you had me actually prepare the meal and cook the meal. But it wasn't until we were in the kitchen together that I realized that, okay, maybe I don't know everything, or maybe I'm not doing everything the correct way, but you still had me do it. And then when you realized that I wasn't doing something right, you would help me, but you wouldn't do it for me or just tell me what to do. You would make me do it. And so essentially you involved me, but not just with cooking, but with with every other thing. So that's where this quote hits home with me.
Now, can you think of when parents yell at the children, don't do this, know that, know this? Are they involved in the kid?
No.
So in school, let's say all they want to involve you in is a test. So that everything has to be left brain test, 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 test. Are you involved in the child if you don't understand how they're learning? If they learn a different way, if they take a little more time to truly understand what they're learning, right? Does a teacher have time for that when they have 30 plus kids?
No.
How much time is in there for that understanding or involvement?
Probably none.
So what do you think the results would be?
Not good.
So how are we supposed to educate the youth and get them wiser if we ourselves are not taking the necessary steps to show that we are also involving ourselves, so that we show them how to be involved, called community, right? And so that's why when we involve people, like I involve with you, it's not just cooking, relationship, business, personal, growth, sports, everything. And so when we involve, it's to make sure, okay, we never really feel, and this is how I grew up, we never really feel we know everything. And so you always want to learn. And the best way to learn is to learn from the best. And how do the best guide you? They involve you. Right?
Right.
They want to say, okay, you know what? I can tell you all the best things to do exactly how I did it. But until you see me on the court, until you see me in the kitchen, until you see me with people doing like this, it may not mean the same. It may not carry the same weight. It may not translate to you so that you can understand it to its full capacity.
Right.
Does that make sense? And a lot of times everything's just all talk.
Right.
Less walk. And so the reason why involvement is so important is because I have to do the walk first before I ever share with you how to do the walk with me. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
You go to school, university, there's lucky if you find one person that actually owns a business, knows how to run the business, knows how to save taxes so that the taxes doesn't have to pay, so the company doesn't have to pay all those taxes. But very few have that on-site training. They're all theory, but yet they want to teach you business, theory business.
Right.
Where's the practicality?
Right.
And so that's why it's hard to take from what's in the classroom and bring it into the workplace.
Right.
That's why companies are saying, you know what, we don't want that. We just want you in the workplace.
Yeah, because there's a big disconnection.
Big time.
So how could somebody take this quote? Maybe not everybody's a teacher or like a mentor or a coach. If they're not, how could they take this quote and apply it?
So involve yourself with people doing greater things. That's what you did. When you want to play sports, you learn from the best. You want to get better at a certain skill, you learn from the best. You want to expand who you are as a person, you learn from the best. And then that's why those who are at the top of their game are never afraid of learning. In today's world, everybody's afraid to learn because once they feel they learned one thing, they feel they know everything. And then they close off. Very difficult to learn that way. That you become very ignorant. It's the whole thing is to not be ignorant at all. Be humble and flexible so that you can keep learning. Add layers, add layers, add layers. Add different dynamics. Those are the fundamentals. If you can add enough fundamentals and you practice all those fundamentals, eventually you gain that experience to put it together. Eventually.
Right.
But you got to keep working at all those fundamentals. That's how you become great.
That's very true.
Right? So you're going to make some changes?
Yeah, well, I think number one, the quote about the 3 gates, that's something that I'm still working on. Because even still, like after I bit my tongue, I didn't say anything in that moment, but next day, I probably did. Day after that, probably did. So, yeah, I think there's more work to be done there. And then I think with the second quote about, I think for me, it's like if I want to help other people and show like my family or other people, it's more important to involve them rather than to tell them what to do, because I see that I've actually done that to them, where I've told them what to do, what to eat, how to fix their problem, or what we're doing, like what you've taught me. And if I haven't actually walked it and have become it, then it's not for me to share it. That's how I actually share it.
Correct. Wait till they ask questions and show that they're ready to receive the message. Make sure that someone's home, then you give it, then you deliver it.
Right.
But if nobody's home, it's not the right time for delivery.
Right.
You can knock all you want, no one's going to answer you.
So are there any other thoughts that you want to share about these quotes in particular?
What does the audience think? Where's the audience with this?
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Where's the audience with this? Are they passing through those same gates, or are they passing through their own personal selfish gates? Right? Most people are doing that.
Right. And are they pushing information on people? Are they actually becoming it?
Correct.
And then sharing that?
And a lot of people who push information tend to be gossipers. We don't want to do that. We want to be people that if we share something, it's because it's true, it's valuable, it's meaningful. Because we live that way.
Right.
We bring value.
Now, I also made another connection between these two quotes. So if you're only saying things that are true, kind, and necessary, then most of the talking that you do is with your actions.
Correct.
Which goes back to the other quote where it's like, if you involve somebody, then you'll get them to understand. But the only way you can involve them is if you practice what you preach, if your actions speak louder than your words. So you really have to put in the actions, because it's not so much about what you say, but it's about who you are.
Exactly. And that's why when we do research, we'll see that most of communication, 90%, is non-verbal. But yet all people want to do is verbally communicate. That's just one means of it. What about the other 90% plus? But when you watch a movie, they know exactly how to impress whatever the message is, impress, whatever it is, for you to believe that. It may not all be verbal, but they know how to use sound to get you to be in a psychological state. They know how to make the light or the video to make you be in a certain state, so that they can get you now to receive what it is they want to get you to receive. Think about that.
So they're bypassing
your walls.
Exactly.
And that's why people like entertainment, because they feel it's good, but at the same time, that's when you are manipulated the most. And so when someone's actually good in front of you, who actually wants to help you, you put up all the walls because it's not entertaining. It doesn't sound sweet. Poor me.
It's very ironic.
And someone like that will not get good results. Right? So we have to learn to communicate, not just verbally, but communicate through the action. You know what? I think water is good, but instead of me telling you water is good, let me show you. I'm going to drink it every day. I'm going to show you why I drink it. I'm going to show you how often I drink it. Right?
Big difference.
Big difference.
Wonderful. Well, we would love to hear from you guys and hear how these quotes impact you, how it relates, and also just your experiences with them. And like we said, stick around for the behind the scenes footage, and be sure to like and subscribe. Herman, do you have any last thoughts that you want to share?
We want as many comments, likes, subscribes down below, because then it shows you really value this content. And if you really value this, we want to bring more like this to you. So let us know.
Exactly. And if you actually like this type of content, then we take it a lot deeper inside of the Inner Circle, which is our group coaching program, where we do more intimate calls, where we really, really give you the blueprint so that you can grow and so that you can make the biggest amount of change in the world.
Get the results you want.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
My mom was making cookies, and I was like washing my dishes, and I was about to lean over and just say something unnecessary, and I bit my tongue.
You decided not to say it?
No, I didn't say it after that.
Yeah.
Because that was like, I knew exactly what I was about to do, and I bit my tongue, so I was like, Why
Oh,
would
you
I
mean you literally bit your
I
tongue?
literally bit my tongue.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like not as
I
a phrase.
thought the saying like
No.
bite your tongue, right?
Yeah, right. But
Yeah, there's another one.
I physically bit my tongue.
By accident, or did you do?
I didn't do it on purpose, no.
Oh.
I think that would be a great one right there.
Right there.
Because you got a whole story with it.
Well,
Yeah,
we
could do
just
that
had a
one.
really great behind the scene film. You know, people want to see that. That would be fun.
Were you guys filming?
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Are
just
you
filmed
filming?
it.